There were 2 more murders 15 miles away.
When police arrived, they found the telephones and electricity lines.
We have a weird homicide.
A scene described by one investigator as reminiscent of a weird
cup of murder.
As a parent, you hope the decisions you make when it comes to your children are the right ones, even if they aren't well received by the child. On April 23rd, 2006, an entire family was murdered inside of their home in Medicine Hat, Alberta. Well, almost the entire family. So if you like your coffee hot but your bones chilled, sit back and start your day with a morning cup of murder. On April 23rd, 2006, or 24th, depending on the source, a young boy in Medicine Hat, Alberta, walked over to his best friend's home to ask if he wanted to come out and play with him. When he arrived at the home and peeked into the window, he saw something that no young boy or human being should ever have to see: the brutally murdered body of a person he knew and cared for. He ran home to his mother and she called the police, who arrived at the Richardson family home to find the bodies of 42-year-old Mark Richardson, who was brutally stabbed 24 times with a screwdriver, and his 48-year-old wife Deborah, who was stabbed roughly 12 times, sprawled out on the floor, while the lifeless body of 8-year-old Tyler Jacob lay on the bed with his throat slashed open. The family had been murdered on April 23rd, not long before they were found, and with a sense of fear, investigators realized that there was someone missing from inside of the bloody home: 12-year-old Jasmine Richardson. Worried she was a victim of kidnapping, they sent out an Amber Alert and began searching the home and her locker to see if they could find any evidence pointing towards who may have taken her and killed her family. Unfortunately, the evidence instead pointed towards something much more morbid. It painted Jasmine as a brutal killer rather than an innocent victim. Not just that, but her internet history connected her to a 23-year-old man named Jeremy Steinke, who they realized was Jasmine's much older boyfriend. The pair were found about 81 miles away the following day and charged with the 3 murders, after which Jeremy asked Jasmine to marry him, and she agreed. It wasn't until they were in custody that investigators got a clearer image of Jasmine's life and why she chose to annihilate her entire family. Jasmine, who was described as a normal, happy, and social young girl, met Jeremy when she was just 11 years old at a local punk rock show. Jasmine was instantly taken with his goth lifestyle, became a member of the website Vampire Freaks, drastically altered her physical appearance, and believed her boyfriend when he told her he was a 300-year-old werewolf. Jeremy had a much different life than Jasmine's typical happy childhood. He was raised by an alcoholic and an abuser, was bullied, attempted suicide, and lived with his werewolf persona from the age of 13, even wearing a vial of blood around his neck. When Mark and Deborah found out about Jasmine's new relationship with the much older man, they were understandably incredibly concerned. They prohibited the pair from seeing each other, after which Jasmine came to Jeremy with a plan. In an email, she wrote in detail the plan to kill her family, even stating, quote, "It begins with me killing them and ends with me living with you." And him replying, "Well, I love your plan, but we need to get a little more creative with, like, the details and stuff." On April 3rd, 2006, just a few weeks before the murder, Jeremy wrote a blog post that said, "Payment. My lovers' rents are totally unfair. They say they really care. They don't know what is going on. They just assume. Their throats I want to slit. Finally, there shall be silence. Their blood shall be payment." With that and the viewing of the movie Natural Born Killers, the Richardsons' fates were sealed. Jeremy snuck into the home late in the night, dressed completely in black, and proceeded to stab Jasmine's parents out of sheer anger and resentment. According to the story told by Jeremy to an undercover cop, Deborah was killed first, Mark fought for his life, and Jasmine watched on as her brother's throat was slit and never shed a tear. In fact, according to Jeremy, she laughed as she watched the carnage unfold. He told the officer, "Me and my old lady have become legends." Jeremy Steinke was brought to trial in November of 2008, where a jury found him guilty of 3 counts of first-degree murder. On December 15th, 2008, he was sentenced to 3 life sentences that must be served concurrently. Jasmine, who was just 12 years old when the murders took place, could not have her name published in reference to the crime, could not be charged as an adult, and could not be given more than a 10-year sentence. So on July 9th, 2007, the then 13-year-old was found guilty for 3 counts of first-degree murder, and a few months later, was given the maximum of 10 years imprisonment with credit for time served and to be followed by 4 years in a psychiatric hospital. She is believed to be the youngest person ever convicted of multiple murder in Canadian history. In the fall of 2011, Jasmine Richardson was released and sent to a psychiatric hospital. In October of 2012, she began expressing genuine remorse for the role she played in her family's murder. She was completely free by May of 2016. Thank you for joining me in my morning cup of murder. Please join me again tomorrow to hear what terrible thing happened on April 24th. Don't forget to rate and subscribe and let me know how you like it. If you want to help support the podcast, there's always Patreon or just sharing it with your true crime obsessed friends. And remember, stay safe.